Hi, Shelley here. Today I'm going to be working on an 11 by 14 inch hardboard canvas. I've got a new rock rose stencil I'm dying to try out. If you're looking for some new stencils, you can check out my PayHip shop. I'll have that linked below. And so come along with me and let's see how it goes. So I was going through a box of old papers and letters that was in my mom's stuff, and I just thought I'm going to collage with that. I don't want to throw it away. There's some sentimental stuff here. This is an old program from when I used to teach dancing lessons right out of high school. So I thought, well, that'll be fun. I don't know if you're going to be able to see any of this when it's all said and done, but I'll know it's there. Just going to have a little fun. So I'm kind of going down memory lane here. Here's a letter from me to my parents. I don't know what's going to happen, if this ink is going to run as I get going here. Seems to be doing okay. Back in the days when everybody used to write letters. All right, now we'll let this dry. I have my stencil, but I want my flowers as big as possible, so I'm going to be using my masks. Whenever I have a decent size flower image that I've cut out of a stencil, I keep them to use. You can always use them as a mask on your jelly plate or for other things. I think what I'm going to do today is take this cardstock and cut my flowers out of the cardstock. And what I like to do what I think I'm going to do is to wet my paper liberally, crinkle it up. Really want it nice and wrinkled. And then I'll open it up with the side. Oh, I can still see my pencil mark, but not very good. And then I'm going to use this. I've used a straight pen before. You could use anything that's got a pokey end on it. And I'm just going to go and start tearing the paper away from that edge. Many times in the past when I've gone in too hard and too fast, I wind up tearing pieces out that I don't want to tear. Now, if I make a big tear down one of these areas that I didn't want, I can always just, when I glue the flower on, I can just kind of fix it then. But I'd like to not have to do that if I can help it. adding a little bit more water with my brush here, just to keep things nice and wet around that edge so my paper tears nicely. Okay, I think that's great. Let's stop there and clean this mess up. Okay, my canvas is dry, and I'm very sad that the green, obviously a felt tip pen from the old days, did not make it through the decoupaging process, but we are going to go with it anyway. So I'm going to quickly cut off my edges. Now before I paint, I've got my little circle stencil here, and I'm just going to put some circles in my background. And I could hand do this, but I want them to look a little bit more precise than, I don't want them to be perfect. I want them to be a little bit more precise than if I were to hand draw them. I think the colors I want to use today are some turquoise. Whoa, it's way old. Some turquoise, my golden sunset, and some of this red flag. I think I would rather have this Tuscan teal. Actually, maybe we're going to do a little bit of mix of the reds. It's not much difference. Let's add some of this flamingo in there. Flamingo. And a little bit of this yellow. Okay. And I think I'm just going to, I don't want too much water. I don't want it too wet, but I do want to be able to see my background. So I'm just going to start playing. All right, now I love it. And I like to make sure that they have lots of paint on them. And let's put just a couple other of these blues in there. See if that does anything for us. But I think they turn out very cool, and then I don't feel like I'm wasting the baby wipes. I've had a hard time deciding what I wanted to do next. but I love my background so far and I want to go with this. So I think what I'm going to do now is stencil on my stems and leaves of my flowers, and I need to decide exactly if I want to put them where I design the stencil, or so hard to see these stencils before they've been used. Once they have paint on them, so much easier to see. I kind of wanted my flowers up higher. And then I want to do a mix of greens. Always with, I love the marsh green. All right, now I'm going to see if I can move it just a little bit. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to get my alligator clip, one of my little fuzz balls here, because I don't want to do the leaves. I just want to make my stencil connections. Let's see if I can do that without causing a lot of trouble. Of course, now my buds are not touching. My leaves are not touching the stems, and I'm okay with that in this application, just because they kind of look like they're faded a little bit, and that is okay to me. But I do want to bring my stems down a little bit further. All right, I am pleased with that. I hope you like it as well. And let's see where our flowers are going. All right, now it's time to add my flowers. I'm so excited about how my background turned out. You know, I don't know about you, but there's often when I start a canvas, or when I start a project, or you know, or you're right in the middle of it and you think, wow, this isn't going at all like I thought it was gonna go. This, in my head, it looked a lot better than this, but then most of the time Not every time, but most of the time you come through on the other side and think, okay, now I absolutely love this background. But I was so worried in there for a little bit. I just thought, oh my goodness, this is not going the way I had planned. Now, of course, this paper is very thick and textured, and I love it, but it is also harder to get to here to the canvas. So I just smush it down, trying to be gentle. Get it nice and wet. And tap on it to get rid of my brush strokes. Keep it wet. Now make sure I've got a good coat all over. And then I will get another baby wipe. I've got one here. A little bit of green paint on it, so I'll put it inside this other one. And then, I don't know why 2 seems to work just perfect for me, but whoop. That is not cool. And then I just like to kiss the canvas all over and make my texture all the same, no brush strokes. My canvas is dry, and I think I'm now ready to add in some detail to my flowers, a little bit of color. I've got some, not sure what that kind of orangey bled into or from up underneath but that was kind of unfortunate. Maybe it's all from that stinking marker that I had back there. I don't know. But I'm going to make it work. So I'm going to put a little bit more color on these than I had planned to, because I've got that color coming through. I think it's from underneath. I think what I want to do is put a little bit of the Tuscan teal in here. Add a little bit here and there on my edges, but I don't want it to be perfect. Now I want to put some different centers on here, but just to mark where my centers are going to be, because where you put your centers is, you know, designates how what direction your flower is kind of pointing. So if you put it down over here, your flower is kind of pointing that way or up that way. So this guy doesn't have a center because he's facing backwards and he's a halfway guy. It's hard to get everything to work perfect on this kind of, on the texture that, you know, we've got going there. As you can see, there's a lot of texture. So that's all right that it's not going to be perfect. Bring it out a little bit to define my petals a little bit. So what I could do would be to line my centers back up on top and then do modeling paste with my stencil. But what I'm going to do, I think, this could be a big mistake. But I think what I'm going to do is get my modeling paste and put a dollop right in the center ish. To be rough and textured. All right, now we'll let this dry. Well, my modeling paste won't be completely dry until tomorrow, but I'm wanting to get going on this and start painting. So I am going to go in now with some white and tone down some of this color. It's just a little too much for me. I want to add just a little tiny bit of some darker red around the base. And now I just want to take a little bit of white All right, sometimes it's hard to know when to stop. I'm going to do it right now. I want to keep playing with it and I need to stop. So I love it like it is. So that is going to be my canvas. I hope you enjoyed this time with me. If you did, it would be so awesome if you would like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I hope you'll join me next time. Thanks. Bye.